everybody. Welcome to Random Happenings. This is our vlog, hopefully a third and final time starting our vlog. My name is Henry, and I am going to be kind of the moderator for today's little talk. I am joined by esteemed panel of my family and a special guest. So first off, I want to welcome everybody again. And if you haven't went to our Instagram, go to Instagram. We're under Rand Happenings. If you go to Facebook, go onto our page under Random Happenings on Facebook. And if you go over to YouTube where we have all our videos, you can go into Random Happenings under YouTube. So that's where you'll see everything that we've been doing and putting together for you. So let me introduce everybody who's going to be on this vlog. So to my right over here, this is my wife, Diana.
Hello.
How are you today?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Very good, very good. So Diana's right there. Next, coming with Diana is going to be Devin. Devin is on his mic. How you doing, Devin? Doing all right?
Doing good.
All right, so that's Devin right there. And then right next to Devin, we have Zachary. Zachary is right next to him. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good, good, good. Can you talk just a little louder, please?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I'm just trying to pick you up. I can see your wavelength coming in here. So we do also have another special guest. This is Eric. He is our cousin. So how are you doing, Eric?
Good, good.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
Thank you, thank
Hi,
you.
Eric.
So we are going to talk a little bit about just some stuff that's going on at Disney and some changes that could be happening coming up here. So as we know, we've heard July 11th is the opening for Walt Disney World. So that's pretty exciting. I thought that it was going to come right around August. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I thought either the end of July or beginning of August, yeah.
So July 11th is pretty exciting because, you know, once that domino falls, everything else falls. But I think they all started following what Universal did when they put their plan in. So it's kind of exciting. What did you hear, Zachary, about any changes going to be happening over at Disney?
I didn't I don't know how to say this,
What's
but
the protocol, the new things that has to happen?
I think that in Star Wars Land, in that area of Disneyland, be more like how do you say it? I don't know. It's but careful. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm trying to say a different word. But just I think they should have stations, basically.
For hand sanitizing?
Yeah, for hand sanitizing. Maybe have a mask if sometimes people forget it or something like that.
Oh, to provide them?
Yeah, provide them with masks.
I'm sure they'll sell them.
Yeah.
Of course, right? Any way to monetize.
Right.
Or
we've
even
already pre-ordered ours. So ours are going to be coming in.
So we know that temperature checks are going to be mandatory in Disney World anyway, so I assume that for Disneyland things are going to be the same. So we know that temperature check, the mask are mandatory, hand sanitizing stations will be available at the beginning and the ends of the rides. We know that cleaning is going to happen more often by the cast members. And they're going to try to implement, I heard that they were going to have cast members that would actually implement the 6 feet rule. So they're going to be around there reminding people to stay 6 feet apart.
And Devin, when you listen to anything that's happened, any protocols that you heard that were a little bit interesting for you?
Well, I would say kind of, the social distancing thing and in between the waiting lines. But, one thing that I was curious about is, what happens, immediately after the guests that were on the ride get off? Are they going to halt the next group of people waiting to ride so they can clean up the ride to make sure that it is sanitized?
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I think they are going to take the time to sanitize and clean per usage of the ride, which is going to kind of increase the wait time. And I mean, sure, as long as everyone's safe and they do it where it makes everyone comfortable and enjoyable, I think it should be fine for now.
Eric, did you hear about, I know that there's gonna be fewer people allowed in the park,
Yes.
but did you hear a percentage?
I thought it was 30%, but I don't know if that
30% of
changed.
capacity?
Yeah, 30% capacity. So I don't know if there's
In
any
each
different
land?
change.
Because they have
I
several
thought it was
parks,
30%.
right?
Yeah, in each park, each
In
area.
each park,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
park, sorry.
Well, I think 30% in Disneyland, you will have plenty of room to kind of roam. Because Disneyland at 30% probably looks like Disneyland,
Well, Disneyland.
at about 11:30 at night when people are kind of clearing out and it's not
Yeah.
that
Well,
not that crazy.
80,000 is capacity.
80,000 is capacity, but when you figure
Well,
how big that is.
30%.
Now, I don't know if it's 30% for Disneyland and DCA,
Oh.
if that's continued, but even if it was 30% in each, you're still probably going to have so much space
Yeah.
that you'll kind of figure out. We used to go to Disneyland way back when our kids were smaller, when they were about 2 or 3, and there was so much walking room there. And so I'm thinking that that's kind of where we're going to be
Right.
looking at.
Because we went in off-season, so like February, and there were fewer people.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking
At
that
that
that's
time,
what's going to be.
which was 20 years ago.
Right. And I'm thinking that's how it's going to look.
And has anyone
Mhm.
has anyone heard about how shopping's gonna be handled? Like, can we not touch objects to see them, or
I heard that they were gonna ask that you not touch anything that you weren't going to buy.
okay,
Mhm.
So
that's
I
gonna
mean,
be
yeah. So you got to take a
interesting.
pretty good look at it.
I know, right?
Kind of a new version of
Yeah.
saying you break
So-
it, you buy it.
Do we get like sticks and move little
I'm
things
wondering
around?
about returning things. What if
I-
what if you bought? They're probably not
think-
gonna have any returns.
Yeah, I
on
don't think
anything.
so.
So you better make sure you get the right thing,
Yeah.
the right item.
Well, I think you have to be able to return stuff clothes-wise, I would think. I don't think if you bought anything that was candy-wise, you know how they sell the lollipops,
Oh, no, food.
or the
no.
food-wise, that you wouldn't be
Definitely
able to
not
turn
food.
anything back.
Yeah.
But I think that they should be able to return shirts or anything like that. I'm pretty sure that they're going to have more staff that are going to be more on sanitizing duty, people going around wiping stuff up. Hopefully they add sanitizing stations like Zachary had mentioned, everywhere where you can have some hand sanitizer, be able to wash your hands frequently. I'm sure that they're going to be cleaning the restrooms a little bit more
Yeah.
while they're going around. And obviously when you have 30% of the park that's filled, it
Right.
might be a little bit easier.
Has
but
anyone heard about diminished hours? Like, are they guys still gonna stay open till midnight, 1 o'clock?
I'm assuming they're going to stay open till 6 to 8. I'm thinking in between there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's going to be
maybe at the latest 10.
maybe
but
9 to
Yeah.
8 or something like that. Obviously, if you're looking at
Because they have so much more cleaning to do
mhm.
at the, I mean, they always kept things clean, but sanitizing adds a little time, I would think.
Yeah, but the
Mhm.
cleaning and sanitizing should be just done through the whole day. So if they continue staying on that, I think it's going to be pretty close
Mhm.
to being able to close the shop or close Disneyland up about 8 o'clock.
So if they opened for fewer hours, I wonder if that's just so people won't be together that long. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and that's
Maybe.
what the next thing is going to be, is like getting rid of what else do they get rid of? What else do they put on hold right now? Obviously,
right. No parades,
no fireworks.
no fireworks. for the
Fantasmic
time
is
being.
probably going to be shelved for a while.
Well, I mean, can't they social distance that a bit? Like, they could group people together and separate them, right?
Yeah, you probably separate them into different aspects, but what makes Fantasmic more different than sitting and watching a fireworks show or watching a parade? Is that going to be?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all about trying to keep everybody kind of separated from each other, and so that's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens at Walt Disney World with that. I know the Shanghai Disney hasn't changed anything, or have they taken away Fantasmic and Shanghai Disney? Have they done anything like that?
I hadn't heard. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard
We'll have
anything
to do
yet.
some more research, and
I have no
hopefully in the
plans.
What was that?
Probably have no plans to think of or anything like that.
Well, yeah. All we know is they're probably going to get rid of stuff that are going to congregate and keep people away. And I've seen
characters.
No
We
characters
do know
yet.
no character.
But
meet and
isn't
greet.
Phantasmic mostly mechanics?
well,
It is, but it's a grouping of people that they're trying to prevent.
Because
Yeah.
like even before the virus, like most of them were pretty separate, except like when the Disney couples came out, like you always see them.
Oh
in
no,
But we're
there.
not talking about them.
We're talking
We're
about
talking
the people
about the-
watching.
The people watching
the
it.
audience.
You know how crowded
Because they're all
it is.
sitting together in just a big, gigantic group.
Right, and then
Correct.
people holding up their kids so they can see, and you know, yeah,
So not just the performers,
right,
basically the crowd. That's
right,
it.
definitely.
That's a crowd. It's a crowd control. It's a crowd control. It's a social distancing control. And for you to, what's the longest that you've seen somebody wait on Main Street to go see a parade? I mean, that's
right.
once that starts getting
Hours.
packed.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to, which is kind of the weirdest or the most hectic time, is when you're trying to leave the park
Yeah,
and there's a parade or there's fireworks.
yeah.
That's nuts.
Or even when it's still going,
Mhm.
people are
That's
trying
worse.
to pass through small little areas
Right.
that everyone's grouped up together. So
Yep.
yeah, I guess I can see that.
Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about reserving your time to go to the park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's gonna be weird, especially people who already have AP passes, and
That's what I'm confused about.
Well, I've heard that with what they're going to be doing with that is allowing annual pass holders and California residents to be the first to get in, which I've read. But that still, if somebody's planning a trip to Disney,
So is it gonna be online?
I'm sure it's going to be
And
through
you'll
the
put
app
in a
or the
number?
online, but
Oh, okay.
everything that they'll do is probably going to be through the app.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that they've been doing a good job lately, giving everybody information on what they're planning on doing, and hopefully it'll come back pretty easy.
Any
pretty easy to
ideas
come.
as to when Disneyland might open?
Well, having tickets to Star Wars night,
Well,
I hope August. I hope August,
before then.
and that's just a whole nother can of worms with special
Yeah.
nights, with Oogie Boogie. What is going to happen to those things? What's going to happen to those events? But I'm sure that they sold a limited amount of tickets to that. But how do they change that? How do they, do they, what I was thinking about the other day is when we figured out that they were going to have Star Wars night, they weren't going to have Rise of the Resistance open. They weren't going to be able to
Right.
have that ride. Do they open that up now to kind of give people more separation room?
Right, maybe.
I mean,
Give them something to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
give something else to.
Because you think about Oogie Boogie, there were a limited amount of tickets sold to Oogie Boogie, and there were a lot of people there
right. And what
still.
was the biggest thing about Oogie Boogie that I saw when we were over there was the waiting in line and the characters
Oh, yeah.
that would do that. If things are like this right now, do you see them not having Oogie Boogie? I mean, is that something that you can think about? Devin, do you think that they should have Oogie Boogie if it's still kind of under
Control?
control?
Well, not saying like they should, but I definitely see ways where they could have it. Like for instance, like reducing the number of tickets they sell, because there could be like hundreds of tickets being sold, but with the social distancing, they would need to keep the people separate. Like maybe putting in a limit for the attractions that are in there.
Yeah, I mean that's something to do. What do you think, Zachary?
Yeah, I agree with Devin. I think if they're going to let it continue, yeah, reduce the amount of tickets to sell, and maybe they'll just maybe decrease the amount of items in their stores. Maybe the amount of candy that they give out, because of all the buckets, and maybe people could start touching all the candy as well, and they could. But if they're still gonna give away candy, of course they might wear gloves just to protect their people. Just
Right.
for
Right.
And also themselves.
Oh yeah. I know
Now,
that.
do you think that they open up both parks? Do you think they sell the same amount of tickets and
For
have like a Disney Oogie
Boogie?
Boogie and a DCA Oogie Boogie, so they have more distancing.
And just.
That's just speculation, by the way.
And forego the fireworks, because it wasn't that the problem? Because of the fireworks, they couldn't have people going back there?
Yeah, I think that was
Or
part of
something
that
like that?
as well. But that's just maybe another idea that maybe they could
I
be
don't
doing. If they
know.
sell the same amount of Oogie Boogie tickets, you are designated a certain area.
Right, so we're talking, what, 3 months away? Actually, I think they start selling Oogie Boogie tickets in the end of September, or is it all
Well, they
along?
sold them in
all-
April last year.
Oh,
Last year we bought ours in April.
Yeah. Well,
And
sorry, go ahead.
sorry, it began in October, like all the month of October, or did it begin at the end of September? I thought,
I don't know. I thought it was the month. Was it the month?
No, it was started in April.
no, you sold it, I mean, when,
Oh,
how
Oogie
many
Boogie started
Oogie
in
Boogie dates?
September.
September.
Yeah,
Started
I
in
think they had
September.
Oogie Boogie dates in September
Mhm.
through Halloween.
I also I feel it's not really a limitation on the tickets, because they're gonna have to do a lot more policing, if you will, to keep people segregated. Because I remember being in the line for candy, everyone's kind of grouped up. Like, how are you gonna do that during the night? Like, I know there's gonna be signs on the floor like where not to go, where to be, but a lot of people are gonna ignore that because it's candy. It's trick or treating, if you will, but.
Mhm.
So with that in the question, is giving out candy is still going to be something that they're going to do, and if so, how well are they going to police it?
Well, that kind of brings up the kind of like limiting the people to the attractions,
Right.
which kind of gave me an idea like as to how they could continue it, like selling Oogie Boogie tickets now. They would probably have like a strip on the ticket that would say like this admits you into this attraction, like
tear off kind of things.
yeah.
Something that they do.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
they could probably do something like that. They could probably
Yeah.
give
Yeah,
you
like-
prepackaged candy. They could probably do something where they give you that on your way out.
Yeah.
Instead of trick or treating,
Right.
they might even do something, give you some kind of
I
little
don't see
gift
the
before.
candy being a problem though.
Well, I saw the candy last year as being one of the main points for going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right,
with
right,
the
but I don't see it as a
trick-or-treating thing.
problem as far as being sanitary or anything, because you're not allowed to go in and grab it yourself. It's the cast members giving it to you if they're wearing,
There was this couple of areas that I worked.
Right.
that people
Yeah.
were grabbing it, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that, I didn't see it.
And then that also brings up the point of, when the cast member is grabbing your candy and putting it in, what are they going to be doing? Are they going to have changing gloves all the time? Are they going to be, just one or two pieces
Well,
of
if you
candy for
open
you?
your bag, they just throw it in, they're not actually touching you or your property at all.
Right.
So if they're wearing gloves and only touching the candy that's going in there, I mean, for those that choose not to get the candy, they have that option, but
Yeah. I mean, that's also that's a
that's all
huge,
speculation.
Yeah, that's a
but
whole
I mean,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
confusion.
That could be
Confusing.
a whole change in thought process, a whole change in the whole presentation of Oogie Boogie. So while we're kind of on that thought about change, we were kind of thinking about change that's happened before, change that Disneyland has gone through. Obviously they've changed the look of Mickey and Minnie over the years, and what is the saying that Walt says? As long as there's imagination, Disney will never be finished.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a constant change kind of thing, as we've seen over some of the rides that we love, some of our favorite rides. Mine in particular, Thunder Mountain. My favorite ride has gone through a lot of change, from more of adding projections in that last lift hill, kind of seeing that whole explosion when you're in the mine and everything, but also non-change, like all the hidden Mickeys that you see in there, from the wagon wheels to the cactus that have all the hidden Mickeys on it, and not changing the goat when you're looking down that turn and looking at that goat and just feeling everything go nuts in your stomach. So everything has gone change. Obviously, one of Dee Dee's favorite rides is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates, yeah.
So, what change have you seen, good and bad? What do you think?
Well, from the original Pirates, I guess the most recent would be the Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow has been added to it, and everyone was so excited about it. I was really excited about it at first, and now it's getting a little creepy if you look at it really closely. He has like weird beady eyes, and I don't know, just the way he looks now is kind of freaks you out a little bit.
Especially on that last lift.
Yeah, and the last one, and where he's singing yo ho ho and his mouth is not moving with the words. That's kind of weird. And Red, during the auction, that's been a big change, as far as the way the women were put up for sale, and now the pretty redhead is a pirate is she a pirate? I don't know.
I think she is a pirate.
Yeah, I think she is.
So she's not for sale anymore. She's kind of running the show.
And Eric, what is your favorite ride going?
The Space Mountain, and there's a lot of good change and kind of changes that I miss. So one of the changes that I kind of miss in that is that in the early days in Space Mountain, as you get into the line, like I miss seeing, a lot of people don't remember this, but there was a window that you can actually kind of see like some of the stars or some vehicles passing by, but that built the anticipation when I was a little kid. That kind of like thrilled me a little bit.
Do you know what year that happened? What year that it went away?
I don't know the exact year, but it was when I was definitely a kid. So I feel like maybe late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there.
I remember that when I was in high school, about 87, 88, them still being there.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking right around that time that they started changing up, taking the arcade out, taking Starcade. That was kind of around the changing.
Yeah.
And if you have opportunity there, maybe we can look that up before the end of this talk session. But I do remember everything that you did say there. And moving in from that area.
Did you have anything else? I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's right. I was just, like, one of the better additions that to me that I loved is the music. In particular, Dick Dale, kind of surfer music, but to me that went along with it really well. And then they took it out, unfortunately. But the effects, like for Star Wars and the Halloween stuff, they're good. But to me, I kind of miss the old stuff, of course. But I have no complaints for the new stuff. So.
Right. Yeah. That's totally true. And really, if you think about it, Space Mountain as a ride as a whole, it's pretty much the same. But everything more is like queue and atmosphere kind of thing. But I'm just glad they haven't changed the cars like they did in Matterhorn. So it's pretty awesome. So Devin, what about your favorite ride when you're over there? What is yours, and what kind of changes? If you've seen good or bad?
Well, my favorite ride in Disney California Adventure, at least, would be the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And the change it actually went through was it wasn't always that. It was actually called Hollywood Tower Hotel, more commonly or more popularly known as Tower of Terror. And basically it was a kind of a Halloweenish ride, Tower of Terror, which is basically a all around the year when it was open. So when they switched it to Guardians of the Galaxy, which change is good, but like keeping it like a bit honorable to like the older ones that came before it. So like while Guardians is good, it has its own element. It also kind of stays true to the Tower of Terror feeling that you get when you ride it.
Well, you can't do too much when you're going up and down.
When
you
whole
move
theme
up
is
and down.
different, but the ride is exactly the same.
The feeling of energy going through you when you're riding it, Guardians still gives that like Tower of Terror did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The thrill.
Yeah.
The thrill, yeah.
But when you look back about the biggest change, one of the biggest changes there is the addition of music in there, the addition of keeping everybody kind of involved in the whole ride, and obviously when you start bringing something in like Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie with Chris Pratt, he's just a big music lover, and to add that element on there. I mean,
They put in some classic music from the movie, such as Jackson 5's "I Want You Back" or "Burning Love" by Elvis.
Mm-hmm. So if you had your particular way, would you want to get Tower of Terror back? Would you want to keep Guardians of the Galaxy? I personally like Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's a little bit more now and hip, and I love when that music first comes on and everybody cheers when "I Want You Back" comes on and they start dancing. And what do you think, Dee Dee? What would you?
Yeah, I think I like Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit better. A little bit better. They each have their own charm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was never a Twilight Zone fan, so I mean, the movie's basically, I mean, the ride is based off of Twilight Zone. So, yeah, I would say, I think it's a little more fun, looking forward to what song you might get, and a little more interactive because the characters are actually looking at you guys and talking to you as a rider, So I think I prefer that.
You, Zach?
Yeah, both rides are pretty amazing. I'm just leaning a little towards Guardians just because of how hype everyone gets. And they're all just yelling and just probably singing along in case you have really good ears. If you can just hear voices all around you in the elevator.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just glad they just kept a little bit of the old Tower of Terror, basically the same exact sequence of the ride.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm just happy they kept that in at least.
You never rode
That is
correct.
right? I'm the oddball. So I can't really say if I like Tower of Terror better or Guardians. And of course, it's going to be Guardians for me because when I first went on it, the music added a lot of energy. And not only that, like the people too. The crowd, as soon as the song came on, everyone is like roaring and stuff like that. And it just got you into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's how... what is it, Twilight? Or was it the Tower of Terror?
Tower of Terror.
I don't know if it had that same energy when you're in there. It seemed a little more narrative, but I could be wrong.
It was just the beginning, and then after that, you just dropped.
I think when everybody started counting down like the 3, 2, 1, and everything fell,
Yeah.
it was more of a just up and down, and you would stop and you would see you would open the door, and then you would see a little, Disneyland, and then drop.
Yeah.
Where Guardians of the Galaxy now has the cutscenes and the fighting and the all the stars from the movie. So
Right. Every time you stop,
Yeah.
there's something that opens up, and you have a little scene. And
right.
Yep, and they're all sort of randomized too. Like you like the music, like the scenes you see in there, like they're not always the same.
Mhm.
Like every ride is different. And also a fun thing to add was that like the original stars from Guardians of the Galaxy's movie are in it,
Mm-hmm.
where some actors are kind of reluctant to go back into a role they've already done.
Right.
But like seeing that these actors and actresses like enjoy these characters as much as their audience does too, that's also a really fun thing to
the
take
original
from that.
voices,
Right.
Mhm.
That's cool.
But if I was in the star, I'd want to be in a Disneyland ride. And Zachary, what do you think? What is your new or old
Favorite
change
ride.
favorite?
Well, my favorite is Rise. Basically, it's really already new, so basically there's no changes. But if I can make like a imaginary change, I would say if they could change the waiting line, like how they're always in computers underground, all that, like a base for the Rebels base. In case I'm spoiling this for anyone, I'm sorry. Yeah, so there's computers and everything showing target icons for the enemies. I'm thinking like, what if they changed the waiting lines? Like, they could be into a different scene, like in the movies. Like you could be in, you never know, like I don't know how to say this, like a different environment or something like that.
You may get change in the waiting line anyway.
Well,
What's going to happen now?
Yeah.
It's gonna change the waiting line anyway.
But what do you mean by
right.
change in environment?
A
like
different.
what's around you, like so basically what's around you,
Mhm.
and get a different feeling of what's gonna happen. Oh, is the the entire ride going to be different because of this? Did they make something? Did they add a new thing to the ride
Like Star
that no
Tours.
one knew about? Yeah, basically like that. It's basically Star Tours randomized, basically like that.
Star Tours randomized.
With their, with their missions,
Well, their missions are going to be more of a.
They're-
It's so hard when you have something on that scope
Right.
to change missions. You can change missions on Star Tours because
It's a
it's
screen.
just a screen.
Yeah.
If
Right.
again, we don't want to ruin anybody who hasn't ridden this, but you'll know right off the bat that it's hard to change the story.
Yeah.
You can't change the story too much.
Yeah, I know.
You can change lines, you can change difference. I understand that, but I would think more of the change to Rise of the Resistance was more of a new land, something new to Disneyland. It's a good change,
Yeah.
especially.
No.
I don't think he meant like each time you
Yeah.
rode it. If there ever came to
There ever
a time
came.
to tweak the ride, you could do that and have a different
Like say it opened for like
area.
1 or 2 years or something.
Right.
Like then they do something different, maybe.
But that's a beauty to that ride. I don't know if you need to change that ride.
Well, if it ever happened, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
That's
right.
why I'm saying it's new, so there's no changes right,
Right.
now. But if they ever did, like that's why I said imaginary change, like in my head or something like that.
Maybe that's
Some
what they
changes
would
But
for the
somewhere
holidays.
The ride is fantastic
somewhere
either
down
way.
the road.
Yeah, but the ride is fantastic
Eventually,
either
there
way.
will be a change.
Yeah, you could change that up to the Ewoks Christmas holiday.
Yes.
Go back in the day of that one.
I
Yeah, well,
think-
like Snow White. Snow White is going under refurb, so
Yeah,
there
so-
may be some changes.
That's a whole another thing. And if you haven't seen the video back in 1972 on our YouTube channel, Fantasyland, huge change. And when you mention Snow White, that's going to be pretty exciting to see that change there. And what's the next domino to fall over there? Do they kind of get rid of Autopia and put Arendelle in there, like the whole,
Yeah.
like the
That's a
whole,
whole other-
rumors have been coming
Yeah.
up, but obviously change is a huge thing with Disneyland, and you can't really get too accustomed to something because it's going to be gone.
Right.
Maybe one of your favorites might be up and gone, like Skyway. I miss a Skyway.
Yeah. So many.
But that's also,
Yeah.
somewhat inevitable. So, anything else that you can add that you think maybe that we haven't mentioned that deserves to be mentioned and change?
I like how Rise of the Resistance is not just a new Star Wars ride, but it's also a new kind of direction for Disney, because if there is one, I don't know it, but Rise of the Resistance is Disney's first trackless ride, isn't it?
I think
Disneyland's first.
Disneyland's first trackless ride, but Tower of Terror still in Orlando is a trackless ride.
But doesn't that
and
one still just go up and
Disney-
down like
It still
the
goes up and
original?
down, but the difference between the Tower of Terror at Disneyland and the one at Walt Disney World is you would go up, your elevator would get out, and it would go across this. Remember the part in Tower of Terror when all the lights would go down and all you see was stars, and all the stars that were there along the screen. That your cabin or whatever, your elevator is moving to the drop. It gets in there and then it drops, so it actually moves. It keeps going, and so that trackless thing is they've had that for a while over at Walt Disney World. So
I don't know if it was the first one, but I know Disney Paris had Ratatouille. That was
Yeah.
like the one that we see in Rise of the Resistance.
right, so I think that they've come on that being the first trackless ride. Yeah, that's big change. That's something that's
Yeah.
Disneyland has never seen, and that's probably why you have to get there super early to get a boarding pass before pre-COVID.
Now
Isn't
that you
that-
mentioned it, I do remember the Ratatouille ride. I'm sorry if I
No,
interrupted you.
that's right. Isn't that the same thing as what Railroad Mickey is?
Yes,
Trackless?
Yes, Runaway Railroad
Yeah, that's
is
it.
going to
yeah.
be a trackless ride.
Okay.
So I've seen videos of it on YouTube, but it looks pretty amazing what they've got going on over there too.
Well, I think that's one thing we can all look forward to is change.
Yeah, everything is going to
Everything's
change.
changing. Yeah.
lot
Everything
of
will have
things.
some change going. Something that we didn't mention before that's going to be changing, Bugs Land. You're going to have Avengers Campus. That's another big change that they've going on.
When
Don't
it
know.
opens, no one knows.
Yeah, don't know how much construction they got finished, but that's something to look forward to, something to kind of to go on. Obviously, everything that's happening is change that we've talked about, so I think it's all just a matter of just take a breath, make sure that you're comfortable with where you're going to be. If you're comfortable with going to Disneyland,
Put your mask on and
put your
go
mask
have fun.
on. Yeah,
Be safe.
yeah. Keep your hands washed and do all that
Yeah.
stuff. So let's do some parting words. Maybe do some foreshadowing for the next vlog that we do. Hopefully we can do maybe 1 or 2 a month and send this out.
Or
But
if you guys have any ideas, what you'd like to know, we can find out for you.
yeah, just leave it in the
Any
comments below.
ideas, Any questions that you might have.
So we'll let our guest Eric.
Oh.
Any last thoughts? Any parting thing? Anything that you're wanting to see? Anything else that way?
No, I'm just excited to see Disneyland open again. Just see little by little it reopening and growing. And I haven't seen Rise of the Resistance, so hopefully I can finally check out that ride.
Yeah.
And then I can't wait for, what is it, Avengers Campus?
Avengers Campus.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
So Avengers Campus was supposed to open in July. So I am sure that's going to be pushed back probably to first of the year. I'm thinking that's going to be first of the year. Devin, your something that you've thought? Any difference? Anything? Any final thoughts?
No, I didn't really have anything. Eric pretty much summed it all up what I would have said.
Yeah.
Okay. So Zachary, what do you think? What are you thinking about any change or anything going on there?
I don't know, actually.
Any final thoughts about anything?
Nah, not really. Just basically the same thing. Just keep your hands clean, keep everything clean, basically.
Yeah.
And you-
Same with me. I'm looking forward to the opening of Disney, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes, to be safe, wearing a mask, hand sanitizing. And I'm sure Disneyland is going to be, very, what do you call it? Proactive.
Yes.
Cautious.
Proactive about keeping everyone safe. So I'm not really worried about it.
Right. I would think that I would hope everybody would have a sense of calmness when you're over at the park. Kind of don't get too excited if something doesn't go your way. Be kind to the cast members when
And
you
each
go out
other.
there.
And other
And
guests.
each other. And make
Yeah.
sure that you're all
Always
there
important.
for the reason to go make memories and be happy at Disneyland. But be kind. That's the biggest thing too. Know that they're just doing their job, and if something doesn't go the way you think it needs to go, or you want it to go and it doesn't, just take that with a grain of salt. Drop some pixie dust on it.
Right.
And
I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, it's true. If you're not willing to make those changes and do them willingly and happily, then I would suggest don't even go there if you're going to complain about the
Yeah.
new protocol,
Yeah.
because maybe you should wait. Maybe
Right.
if you can't handle it, this has to be something that you're going to do because you want to do, and you want to be safe, and you want everyone to have a good time.
Yeah, totally agree. So just want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank Dee Dee, Devin, Zachary, and especially Eric for joining us today. Thank you for giving us all of your insights.
Thank you all for listening.
Exactly. Just remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell notification so you know when we go live or we post new videos. Let us know if you like this vlog or this podcast, whatever you want to call it. It could be like a hybrid kind of thing, and we can definitely do that. And if you have any ideas, just put them in the comments below, and definitely we'll get some research going and do that. So on behalf of everybody here, we want to thank you all again. Thanks for joining us. Really
Bye.
appreciate it. Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Subscribe to
Bye.
Random Happenings.
Yeah, subscribe to Rabbit Hand. Yeah, definitely do that. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.